Alrighty, so we are back. You know that the panel to go down to the catacombs is right over here in the corner. Um, and uh, and you also remember that that built into some of the panels are mirrored spy holes that reflect light down to viewports in the catacombs beneath, and
Um,
also to a couple of other rooms as well.
I say, Paladin, I
Hmm.
need you to be. I get close to him, talk quietly. I go, Paladin, I need you to be bait. You're going to be a distraction, and I'm going to disappear for a while and try to go into the walls and see if I can't get the person to come out. You see someone other than me, kill him. And I will go up against the walls to the darkest spot where I can't be seen. So that way I know I'm invisible to people,
Okay.
with dark vision. And I'm going to just edge the wall and try to get to one of the panels where I can open it and go in.
Okay. You had you move along you move along the very edge and get that and get over to the wall. Paladin meanwhile begins kind of like walking it. You are muted. You begins kind of walking around, looking around at the area like here, look at me. I have a large halberd. Um, Here we go. So everybody look at the kobold. Um, Gray, roll me a stealth check and then a sleight of hand check.
25 on stealth. Ooh, 11.
So you successfully blend into the shadows, so much so that Paladin, as you're whistling around and you're taking a couple of steps around, you turn around to look to see back in the direction that you last saw Gray, and he's disappeared entirely.
Wait, even to people with dark vision?
Yes, even to people with dark vision.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, I mean he's just gone. You can't see him. Uh, Gray, you're sliding it. You're in the shadows up against the wall, and you tap the panel a little bit in the spot that it's supposed to release, and you see it begin to, but then it kind of stops. You try again. You try again. You edge the edge of your claw in there like like you're trying to pry it out, but it gives a little rattle, as if there is something attached to it on the other side.
It, does it open enough that I can see in?
No, but you can feel that there's some sort of minor pressure on it from the other side that's not letting it open. Because you undid the catch and it started trying to spring open, but it didn't spring out to where it usually does. Right now,
Okay,
Sean and
I
Aaron are
got
probably going, "Oh my god, I know what this is!"
again. Okay, don't know if this will work. I'm gonna see if I can with my left hand. I'm gonna have to sheath my sword, which sucks, but I'm gonna have to take my left hand and pull it open just enough that I can get a finger pointed like in a gap, and I want to cast Shocking Grasp. into the hole.
Okay. At you pry it open, and you feel a pop, and it comes forward, and you hear another pop and and a gas begins to seep out or into the room around you. Both of you roll Constitution checks, please. Beat a 30 DC.
A 30?
A 30.
That is a corner roll.
If you have any sorts of immunities, now would be the time.
Oh wait. Paladins are immune to poison damage.
What did you
I
roll?
just remembered. Huh?
What did you roll?
Ah. That is a 14 plus Constitution save of +3, so that is a 17.
You fall asleep. You are overcome by the gas and fall asleep. Gray, what did you roll?
Poison,
Yep. Or Constitution save.
and I'm down.
Yep. You fall. You slump forward as you but you recognize the sweet smell of lotus sleeping
Wait.
poison. One of the brews that that you were taught to recognize as a kid.
One
And-
second.
What you got?
I've got a cat.
Because of my new ability, I cannot be forced to sleep by any means. So when I feel it happening, I play like I'm asleep and just go down.
Okay. Great. I love this. So you see Paladin go, ugh, as soon as the gas gets to him. The gas gets to you, and you feel it beginning to take effect on you. But you can feel the power of the masters pushing through your body and burning it off as quickly as it tries to as it tries to take you over. So you like, oh, and you and roll me a performance check, actually.
And it is a 17.
The panel opens up, and you see an extremely short tiefling step out. She is holding a sword that looks very similar to yours. And sorry, trying to bring it up. There we go. She steps out and is. She steps out at the panel opens up wider, and the tiefling steps out. She has big goat legs before. She has big goat legs with cloven hooves, a long tail which is furry at the base but extends out into nine barbed tips. You see glowing cat's eyes, seeming to burn out of the darkness, and kind of a cloud of darkness surrounds it as it steps out. You see a long sword that looks very similar to yours, And roll me an insight check. Gray.
14.
You recognize it as one of the swords which was safely put away below. Um, another one of the older, more reputable swords. Um,
The catacombs below.
yes, from the catacombs below.
When she's within 30 feet.
She steps out, looks at you, and says, "I know you're awake, Gray. You
I
should
cast Thorn Whip.
Okay. Do you need to roll anything for that?
Yep.
Roll.
My attack roll is 24. If I hit them, I can roll damage and I can move them up to 10 feet closer to me.
As your thorn whip hits, the tiefling holds up a large silver crescent that glows with a silver light, and your thorn whip wraps around a sphere that forms into being around her, and your spell kind of falls apart and falls away.
I see if I can roll backwards and pull my sword.
Puts her hand down and says, "Gray, you stop this instant."
I don't know you, and you don't belong here. And I don't know how you know my name, but I'm not going to get captured.
She steps forward into a moonbeam and says, "Yes, I know I look different. I know I look different now, but I came back, and no one was here. Where have you been, Gray? Where is the master?" Paladoon, roll me a Constitution check.
That is 11 plus Constitution of +3, which is 14.
Nope, you're still snoozing. Paladoon snores loudly as he and at one of the windows up above, you see Don's head. Don's head suddenly appears in the window up here, as he's like, "Hey, what's going on in there?" So the tiefling steps into the moonlight and roll a perception check.
24.
She steps she steps into the moonlight, and the voice that you thought that you recognized, now you see her step forward. The tabaxi that you haven't seen since she went away on a hunt and didn't return years and years ago. You're one of the other trainees that came in close to the same time as you. Her name is Gwyn, and she was a tabaxi at one point, but now you can see she's got her knees are reverse articulated, and she has huge branching horns coming off of her head, and burning cat's eyes. She's all she's all she also has her claws now are instead of being retractable, they're now cruel glowing hooks that glow the same yellow as her eyes. She's dressed in a large a wide brown homespun robe with a large crescent moon hanging on a large silver crescent moon hanging on a large on a long a long silver chain.
You say you know me, you sound like her, but you look differently. Who are you, and what have you done to Gwen?
You are different as well, and here you bring one of the draconic folk into this holy place. Why are you here? I thought that you had been here with Master, but obviously you have been gone for some time. I protect this place now. What are you doing here, Grey?
This is my place. I don't know what you're talking about protecting it. We don't allow tieflings like you here.
Don't allow. What would Master
You
say?
remember we hunted you?
What would Master say if he heard you talking like that to one of the trainees? Take care of our own. That was the first lesson, don't you remember?
Okay. If you're who you say you are, what was the master's prized possession that none of us could read or look at?
You mean you mean the tome of the masters that he carried with him at all times. I too have been seeking this. Tell me, do you know where it is?
Not anymore. It teleported me here with him.
She looks over at him, over at Paladoon. Paladoon, make a Constitution check.
Corner roll.
Come on, buddy.
12 plus 3
No.
is 15.
She takes a small vial out of her apron, walks over to Paladoon, and breaks it next to his nose. He inhales the pink fumes produced, and wakes back up. Paladoon, you come to with this tiefling who's straightening up from next to you, looking down and says, "There now, that's better."
I'm like, ah, ah! And I back up to the corner and holding my halberd.
She puts her hand up and says, be at peace, friend. I have no we have no quarrel here. We have no quarrel here. And roll. Oh, are you immune to charm?
Let me look real quick because I don't think I have it written down somewhere. Because I neglected to do that. But I don't think so when I looked in here.
Very well. Roll me a wisdom save.
A wisdom save. That is 16 plus wisdom. A wisdom save of +2, so that is 18.
18. So you feel calmer, and you realize that this tiefling isn't here to hurt you. She's here to help you and to be your friend.
Ah. Okay then. All right then. I go ahead and put away my halberd, but I'm still not going to back away from the from the corner because her friends might not because she might not want to hurt me, but her friends might if she has any.
That is a perfectly reasonable assumption and action. So Gray, you get to your feet and you see Paladoon as he wakes up begin to go ah, and then she waves her hand in front of his face and suddenly goes, "Oh yeah, no, you're cool, yeah, you're great, yeah." He puts his halberd down and he begins to get to his feet, dusting himself off, looking around, and gives Don a little thumbs up, and Don goes "Yerp," and disappears from the window. Gwyn turns to look at you. And
Now
so,
you're casting spells to make people like you?
she says, "Oh, get over yourself, Gray. You've done worse. All I did was prevent him from hurting himself, or you, or me. Come, there's much for us to
Gwen
discuss.
had no such powers.
Just like you have grown gray, so have I. Come below, I shall show you." And she begins to walk back towards the panel. Paladin, do you want to follow her to see what she's got?
Yeah.
Okay. Paladin begins walking behind her like, "Hey, hey, hey, here I come." And he disappears through the panel as well. So now it's just Gray left there.
I follow him.
You
I'm not
follow
going to let her out of my sight into the bowels of the temple.
you follow her in into the panel, and you begin to go down a set of steps into the catacombs below. The
Are we going
catacomb.
towards the main room,
Yes.
the main vault?
Yes,
Okay.
you know this passage pretty well. It's an ancient carved stone passage. The must of thousands of years of hundreds of years exudes from the wall, and you see worn places where many sets of feet have gone down these stone steps before, down into the catacombs. It opens up into a large room, um, with an immense variety of uh, an immense variety of resources and books and such uh, that are histories that have been written here by ancient adherents of the order. Um,
So we went to one of the vaults, but we didn't go to the main vault that the book used to be held in, where the staff is that transported me to outside the Witchlight.
Correct. This is the vault above that vault.
Okay.
So it's kind of like an antechamber that it's kind of like you put good things in, and then you have the really good stuff behind a secret door, from the place, so that hopefully raiders see the stuff in there like, oh, this is the treasure, and then they leave the really good stuff behind. Um, so the three of you are all the three of you come forth into this room, and it is a large it's a room full of the room is taller than it is large. It's roughly about 40 feet by 40 feet square, but it's a long, tall well, with a series of balconies going around it that you can go down the middle of. And you are that's not the right mouse. And you are in the and you are now you're now in the middle chamber. Paladoon, you're looking around, and you just see volumes and volumes of histories around you.
Wow.
Histories, logs. I mean, these are log books of generations of these monster hunters.
Hmm.
It's very impressive.
I can see. There's so many of them.
The tiefling says, "Yes, our order has been the guardians of this place for generations. Yet it appears that some have forgotten their vows."
Hmm.
She begins going over to a certain spot on the wall, and begins pulling a chain off. Gray, you know that this is the chain that activates the pull release for the entrance into the super secret vault. She
I look
looks
at her
at
and I say, "You have no right even messing with that. Talking about vows, forgetting. You've been gone. You never came back. Where were you?
you're the one
And what
who's
have
been
you
gone.
become?"
You've been gone. You've been gone. I've been here for 20 months on my own with nothing. With you weren't here. Where have you been? And she says, "But now that you are here, you're going to help me with something. And your friend here too." And she begins pulling against it. And you hear, and you, and as she pulls on it, the Paladoon, you see a large section of the stone floor begins subsiding. Begins lowering down into the floor underneath it as she pulls this as she repeatedly pulls on this previously hidden section of chain.
Wow.
She then she walks over and holds up her holy symbol, which begins glowing and it casts an orb of moonlight around her for about 25 feet around her, and she begins to walk down into the into the hole. Gray, you've been you know what's down there.
You light the path. We don't bring light to these areas. We love the darkness.
Does your friend see in the dark?
Yeah, I have
I,
dark vision.
he wouldn't be here if he didn't.
She
He just
lets
won't see us.
she lets the light lapse and says, "So many things have been broken. It is good to see that some traditions still hold." And she disappears through the hole below. Paladoon, you now the effects of the enthrall spell have worn off, and you feel like you're kind of back to yourself again.
All right then.
You and Gray are left inside this room, and the tiefling has just gone below.
Well, I'm gonna follow her.
Paladoon, don't touch anything. Everything down here is special. Don't touch anything. I can't even tell you what could happen.
All right, I'm not gonna touch anything. I won't even touch the floor.
You have new skills as well. And I go down behind him to make sure nothing's following us.
Okay. Nothing shows up. Nothing appears to be following you, as you go down into the. I really thought that y'all were gonna get into it here, so I wasn't 100% ready. So you go. So you. So you end up in the. So you follow her. You follow her down into the. You follow her down into the catacomb below, and you are and as soon as you step in, you are immediately greeted by the smell of brimstone. The the room around you is not as is not is not as nice as you remember. Oh, come on, dude. Hang on 1 second.
Paladoon, be ready.
Okay.
Sorry, having a bit of a problem getting the camera to do what I want it to do. Ah, now it's upside down. Yuck.
Oh!
Shoot. Shoot. I can't get it to go I can't get the angle I want. I got it yesterday. How did I get it when I was doing the rehearsal? Is it this way? Is it that way? Maybe. Nope, can't be. Damn it. How did I do that? Almost got it. Okay, well, I'm just going to have to do it this way. Boy, that was the longest scene change ever. Um, so instead of the rough hewn kind of primordial original temple that you're that you remember seeing before down here, it looks like the room instead looks like it looks like there's been a substantial battle here. There's large blackened spots on the walls, and there's rubble littering the floors. It looks like there have been huge chunks gouged out of the walls as someone was apparently looking for something here. Someone of with enough power to shatter stone. Um, and you see all of the traditional pedestals that had held the items that had been looted before have been someone came back and just tore them apart. The entire area is just completely littered with broken stone and broken pieces of everything all over the place.
What happened here? How did this?
This is how
You
it.
said you were protecting this place. How did people get in here?
I was
No one
hoping.
knows of this place.
She turns to you and she turns to you and says, I was hoping you could tell me. This is the state the place was in when I arrived. I take it this is different than the way you left it?
I look for the staff that teleported me to the woods. Do I see any remnants of it?
You walk forward and it is in a heavily collapsed area. You roll me an investigation check.
9.
You begin sorting through the debris, and you're like, it was here. This is where it was, and you're going through the debris, but you're also looking for you're looking for a rod that's like this big. It's
Yeah.
It's 2 feet long by an inch by 2 inches. And there's debris everywhere.
As I'm digging up the debris, I'm like, the rod was here. And how do you even know about this level? I don't remember the master teaching you it before you left.
The master told me before as I was leaving. He told me that he had experienced a foretelling, something that he read in his book apparently, that very soon trouble would be coming to the temple, and that if I ever needed a final sanctuary, or if I were the only one left, to find the chain to find the chain behind the behind the behind the back of the behind the edge of the shelf by the geography section, and that it would lead me to something that I needed to protect. I followed his directions when I came back, despite all the torture that I underwent. I never revealed the existence, and this was the first place I came. And I've been guarding it ever since I came back. So tell me,
And
Gray. You haven't told me yet. Where is Sensei?
he's he's gone. He disappeared. All is left of him is this dust that sits up around me.
She begin she sinks to her knees and begins weeping quietly to herself among the rubble in the darkness. And then she says, "Master is gone. Then everything has completely gone to not comfort has gone to nothing. The last of the ancient knowledge is lost."
I am the last of the ancients' knowledge now. And whatever demons or creatures came here via this brimstone.
She stands up and says, "Demons! What do you know of demons?" And her eyes flare brightly. She says, "You know nothing of demons. I've been tortured by them for centuries. Time passes differently, and I plotted my escape, for years, as I was being flayed apart and remade. This is their plan for all of us. Don't you understand?" And you can see the energies building up in her and her eyes begin to flare brighter and brighter and brighter until finally it seems to overcome her and she just collapses unconscious on the ground. Paladoon, you're standing right next to her as she's like getting ready to go. She appears like she's getting ready to go Nova, and you feel a sudden spike of evil inside her.
Yeah, man, that's sort of illegal around here. I'm gonna have to arrest you for the night.
As you're like, yeah, what you're doing is not real cool. Oh, hey, you just came unconscious there. Can I help you? Did you hit your head as you fell? Ooh, man.
Paladoon, grab her gear. And I immediately grab her sword.
Okay. So
okay then.
you hop through. So Gray immediately as soon as she falls, jumps his way through the debris field and begins stripping her of her gear.
Gray, I don't think that's too nice. And I don't think she would be too pleasantly surprised when she wakes up to see that she's been that she's been robbed and stripped.
Did you just see what I saw? Does this appear to be like anyone that I look like me?
No, but I think she might be. But I think she might be way angrier to find that she's been robbed than she was then.
Not robbing her. I'm just making sure she can't use this stuff on us if she wakes up.
So why don't we just hide and get away first instead of stripping her?
You can't hide from hunters. You couldn't hide from me if you wanted to. And I don't know what she's become.
Good point. Okay then.
We live in the darkness.
All right then. Let's get to declawing this cat.
So I pull her sword away and I have him just grab her gear bag. Not go through it, not do anything. The only thing I want to leave on her is the necklace with the moon.
All right then. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and
just I just say pull it away, hold it away, and then I will get my rope out and just bind her hands so she can't cast spells.
Okay, so you bind her.
Just her hands, not around her body or anything.
So Paladoon,
I bind her hands to the front because I need to see if she's manipulating them.
So Paladoon, she has a under her brown woolen cloak, she has a bandolier that has no less than 4 pouches on it that are stuffed full of all sorts of weird, random things. Um, they like one feels fluffy, another feels like it's a bag full of rocks, another feels like it might have some sort of molded metal objects in it. Um, so you take it and you just kind of like sling it over his shoulder, as well as holding this really fine sword that she's holding, which looks a lot like Gray's sword actually, except a little less ornate. Um, Gray, you were going. What were you going to do with her?
I was just gonna bind her hands in the front,
Mm-hmm.
and then once he was away from us a little bit, Paladin was away from us with her gear. I was gonna try to wake her up.
Okay. So Paladin steps away a little bit around the back of some debris. And Gray, oh, let me disarm her so that she's not pointing a sword at you. We'll put this in Paladin's hand.
I'll reach into my bag and find some salts to wake her.
Okay. So you get some smelling salts out, and you wake her up, and she wakes up, and you notice that her eyes are no longer glowing. They're now back once again. They're the cat's eyes that you remember her having, and she looks suddenly very very similar to the person that you knew as children. But the horns that come out of her feline temples are disconcerting, to say the least. She looks up at you and she says, "Gray, I had a dream that Master was dead, and that you showed up with a kobold, and everything was broken. Oh, it was just a. I'm so glad it was just a dream, Gray."
Yes, yes. Now, what has happened here?
She opens her eyes and says, "What?" She begins to look around and she says, and she sits up. She says, "It wasn't a dream. It wasn't a dream."
No, we don't have time to dream. Dreaming for us is over. Now, what happened here? And what is this of this torture you spoke of?
Torture. The darkest torture. She get she gets to she gets to her she gets to her feet, seeming she looks at she takes a second to look at her feet, almost as and picks up the goat hooves in where before there had been cat's paws, and appears to look at them a little wistfully, and she says, "Yes, yes, uh, I I don't know what happened here. When I arrived here, I came down and I followed Master's instructions, and I began to look for the things that he said were here, but I never found anything, and so I decided I should stay here and guard the place against any of the other students ever coming back. And finally you did. But as far as what's happened here, nothing's happened here since I've been here. I started to live trying to make the upstairs is all ransacked, all the living quarters are ransacked, the temple is defaced, has all sorts of profane things smeared upon it in blood and worse.
You spoke that you were going to have us help you with something. And you brought us down here. You remember anything?
Well, yes, of course. I mean, I want you to help me because You know, Master must have told you where he hid things if you knew of this place as well. I mean, did he tell you that you had to save something down here? He said there were items of great worth and great danger that we needed to preserve.
Yes, this whole room. But now it has been destroyed, so I don't even know where half the things are. Let's let's really find out what happened. I want you to show me what really happened.
How would I do this? Is there secret knowledge that Master gave you that of things we can do?
We're about to find out. And I dig into my bag and I pull some of his, what now I know is ashes,
Uh-huh.
and I get a little snuff in one hand, a little snuff in the other. And I go, "You're going to take a deep breath of this." And I'm going to put it under her nose and then force it into her face to make her breathe it in.
Okay.
And I'm going to smash my face with it too.
She sits back. Paladoon, you're also in the room. You're a little far back, but you could get in this cloud if you want to as well.
Um, I know that they're ashes, but I still don't want to take drugs. So
Okay. So you're off in the corner. And you're like, hey, you know, this is your cult thing. It's not my cult thing. You guys go ahead. I'll be your designated kobold. It'll be fine. So Paladin takes a step back and lowers the face guard of his helmet. Um, the Gwyn looks at you and nods, and you, the air the dust into the air with both of you, and you both go, and you feel that familiar sensation of receding back from reality and then falling. Paladoon, what you see is you see Grey produce a cloud of dust that the two of them lean their faces into, and then both of them just fall. Are you going to do anything?
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go ahead and keep an eye on them, make sure that they don't, well, and die to overdose. But
Okay.
yeah,
So you step around, and you can smell the tang of the dust ashes that are in the air. But your lowered faceplate and your paladin constitution and immunities allow you to walk into the cloud without any deleterious effects. You can feel it tingle on your skin a little bit as it tries to take effect on you, but it bounces off of your paladin immunities, and you're like, oh, that's warm. Ooh, interesting. Meanwhile, in it. Meanwhile, Grey, you feel that familiar receding from the world, and then the fall, and you find yourself falling and falling and falling, and you. Oh, I'm in the wrong window. Haha. Where's the right one? Where's the right one? Nope, that's the wrong one. And Grey, so you feel like you're falling for a super long time. Then eventually you feel like you are like the falling has stopped, but you are in a but it's almost like you're not falling anymore because there's no longer any gravity to pull you down. So you're
Okay,
full.
since I've taken this trip several times, I'm going to quickly orient myself and look to see where Gwen's at. Did she come with me?
Not only did Gwyn come with you, but she is standing right next to you. And as the details begin to form out of the haze around you, whereas before it had been as if you had entered like a world of shadow, where forms were distinct. Now it seems like the ground is shadow around you, and you turn around and you see what appears to be a giant round shape in a extreme far off distance with this huge band of color around it, and past it, just a field of an infinite amount of stars, just hanging in the ether all around you.
What's her form? Is she tabaxi or is she what I saw earlier?
Her form is tabaxi, but you see it's almost like spectral or shadow versions of the horns, and you see her feet kind of are kind of covered in shadow. So you can't really tell. Sometimes they appear to be cloven hooves. Sometimes they appear to be paws.
I look at her and I go, "This is where the master went. This is where he lives now. We will never find him again unless you know something I don't."
She said, she says, "What could I possibly know? I mean, Master didn't teach me about any of this. Gray, where are we?"
Where he lives now, where they live,
Where they
where
live?
all the masters, including myself, live.
What do you mean what do you mean where they live?
I don't know exactly, but I'm learning. This is where I can talk to them. This is how I see them. And this is how I know you are you, not what I was looking at.
But how do you know this, Gray?
Here you can't hide. You are what you are.
But where
Now
is
think
this?
about where you were. No, don't worry about that. Think about where you were and what happened, and let this place become what you need to see.
To what happened to me?
Whatever happened since last time I saw you,
She says, I don't want to think about it. It's I don't
then
want to
think
go.
about what you want to find.
I
Think
don't want
about what you want to find.
what I'm what I meant to find is there was there was a book. A book was what I was is what he told me to find. She closes her eyes, and the shadow at your feet seems to coalesce into a version of the Tome of the Masters. Sorry, it was the Tome of the Higashi or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tome of the Higashi.
Yeah, it kind of forms out of mist in front of you. A great book with a leather binding and a large symbol on the top, as well as the shadow seems to melt, and it seems to reform into what looks like a series of hoops set one inside the other. It appears that there are no less than 11 hoops inset one inside the other. And she says, and the one that he had intended for me all along was What he called it the guiding device, and he said that I would know how to use it. He said that
So
there were others who could use this guiding device and find and they could use it to find a hidden entrance. But
I listen
to what?
closely and try to see what the world is doing around us. Am I getting any sense or smells of the master? Am I getting any sense of anything else being here with us? Because previously I was able to get messages from this.
You see that you see in the kind of shadowy substrate that lies at your feet and obscures the view of you below. It almost seems like you see faces welling up out of it, almost as if they were underwater, but like they're looking up at you from deep within this shadow.
When think about the thing that guides you, the thing that you're going to be using. Where is it going to guide you to, and how are we going to get there?
Her eyes are closed, and she begins to reach her hands out in front of her, and you see the shadow begin to kind of feed up in little tendrils between her hands, and you see that this thing that you had seen in the shadow is actually only about maybe 6 inches wide, but it's made of all of these intricately overlaid overlaid little hoops of fine wire that lay nested within each other, and it looks like there's at least 11 layers. And she has them between her hands, and you see it begin spinning in front of her, go the hoops going faster and faster, and the inside begins glowing, and as it begins glowing in your head, you begin hearing an infernal cackling. A little, you begin you begin hearing it like.
I tell Gwen to grab it, and it's time to go. Open your eyes now.
She's you see that she appears to be losing control of whatever it is. It's moving faster and faster and glowing in front of her, and she's like
I
ah,
grab for it.
and you see her eyes begin glowing as well with that
Red?
yeah, but it's yellow, but was is the color that her eyes glowed, but yes.
But not red. Okay. And then I grab for the object to try to help her stabilize it.
You grab for the object, and your hand goes right through it because it's just made of shadow and dust. As your hand goes through it, it seems to completely negate whatever it was that was going on, and the world and everything and and all of the effects around you begin to begin to boil away, and you're back in the library. Both of you collapsed with Paladoon standing over you, going, "You two okay?"
I get up to my feet quickly, and I look and see what she looks like.
As does Gwen. But so we're gonna back up just a bit here, and we're going to go back to Paladoon. So Paladoon, as they begin doing this thing, both of them go ugh, and collapse to the ground. You see both of them as they breathe. Shadow begins to kind of come out as if they're exhaling it, and then on their next inhale, it goes back inside their faces.
Yeah, that's not too good.
Yeah, it looks like they're very much under the influence of something.
And that's just to show you, don't do drugs, kids.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, it almost seems as if now that you're looking at Gray, you notice something that had not been there before, which is that it almost seems as if there's a cloud of extremely fine dust that it just kind of sits around him, almost like Pigpen from the Peanuts gang.
And that is why you don't do drugs, because then that happens.
Because you end up living in a van down by the river, and you have a cloud of dust that follows you everywhere. Sorry.
I look at Paladoon and I go, so you changed alliances, but now you're still preachy. So I know it's you. Gwen, and I look at her, does she look tabaxi or does she look tiefling?
She's tiefling. She's a tabaxi tiefling.
Well, yeah, I know, but I mean, she's gained the tiefling
features
back, less
yeah.
tabaxi, yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I
So
look around
Paladoon,
the rings.
Paladoon, they both seem to come to in front of you, and start standing up.
Yeah, well, at least that's good. They're not going to come or anything. So.
Yeah, and you guys, sorry, I did the wrong scene change. You guys are still in the in the under area. You're still in the vault, not in the library. My bad. I'm a horrible dungeon master.
I tell Paladoon that it's okay. Give her stuff back.
Okay, I give her stuff back,
and I unbind her hands.
She's already unbound them.
Yeah.
Typical. She's like, what is this?
Yeah. Typical. I go, you need to find the rings.
The rings? What do you know about the rings? What are they?
That's what you're meant to find. This is our vault.
So they're here somewhere?
I'm the master now, and you're here to protect it.
Roll me a persuasion check.
$15.
Roll a Roll me a wisdom save.
Great. $12.
Oh, you easily get over it. So she says, so she looks back at you and says, "Well, who died and made you master? I've been here for the past 20 months. Shouldn't I be the master?" And you and she and you can see that she exerts. I mean, as she's speaking, you can see that there's a power that rises within her, and for a second you feel a little dazzled, like, whoa, wow, yeah, you got something now, yeah, but then you snap back to yourself and you're like, wait a minute, that's a monster power right there. So she says,
"You may
what
be
if
I'm
I'm
master of yourself?
I should be
you're not a master of this place.
Maybe I should be the master of this place. Are you going to come back? Are you here for good, or are you going to leave with your friend to go do something else?"
There's a greater mission at hand. and I have to go out.
Typical
You have
words.
to keep the keep and find the ring.
Typical words of you sound just like the master. And she grabs her sword out of Paladoon's grasp and begins to walk back towards the exit.
I cast.
Uh, Paladoon, I'm assuming you let her take her sword back.
Yeah, I was gonna give it back to her anyways, so yeah.
Damn it. I use my feline agility to get in front of her and block her way.
Damn it. Sorry. Roll me a dexterity check or acrobatics check.
Got it. 21.
Okay, you pretty easily tumble right through her space, and you land right right in front of her. She walks through, and she reaches up with her sword and catches your sword with it. You block it almost by almost by reflex, and so it's like ching, and you land in front of her, and you're like, what? And she's standing in front of you like, what?
I am the authority now until the master returns. And I don't think he's ever returning.
She looks at you and says, "I didn't hear that from Master himself. I think I should be the I think I should be the one. I should be the one to. I should be the one to carry forward. Yield, Grey."
What I do is I go ahead and try to go ahead and break up the fight and try to and tell them, hey, let's just discuss our differences and solve this diplomatically. Just each both of you state your reasons one at a time.
So Paladoon steps forward. Hey! You know, we don't need to resort to violence here. So, and which Grey is immediately like, what?
Yeah. It was just. Don't know what's going on right now.
She reaches out behind her and rolls an 18 to kick Paladoon in the chest. She's not trying to hurt you. She just reaches out and just goes boot behind her and kicks you back where you hit this fallen pillar back there, and just and the pillar cracks with the solidness of her kick. She's obviously incredibly strong, but the kick was more to push you than it was to damage you. Grey, you're standing right here in front of her, and she just kicks Paladoon back and is standing there with a blade that looks a lot like your blade right in front of you, and she says, the master would never have made you his heir. He was always saying how unreliable and how capricious you were. He said that the order needed someone with my heart and my resolve and my ability to organize things.
You can organize, but now I am the darkness.
Roll initiative.
19.
You go first. She you see her move into the typical fighting stance. Paladoon, you should roll initiative as well.
Okay. All right, that is 17 plus an initiative bonus of where is that? That's plus 2. That's plus 2, so that is 19.
So you both have 19s?
Yeah.
Okay, so you both get to go.
Well then, for my turn, I will decide to
Paladin, you also have a flanking bonus on her right now because her back is to you.
All right. So what I do is I try to go ahead and flank her and grapple.
Okay, so you use a move action to get to the back of her, and go ahead and roll a strength check for a grapple.
A strength check to grapple. Okay, that is a 19
Oh
plus.
man!
The part 2 is a 21.
She sees you coming and lashes out with another kick, which you dodge quickly, and then reach out and get your halberd around her, and you just grab you, and you've grabbed her, like her, you've gotten it across her belly, pinning her arms as well, holding her back, using your own body up against her to kind of hold her down. You're able to force her to your roll me another d20
Another d20. That is
and add your
a
strength
9
bonus.
plus strength bonus.
Yes, plus your strength bonus.
That is 9 plus 2 is
Don't bother, she doesn't make
yeah.
it. So you
Alright.
so you pick you not only grapple her, but you're able to pin her back against yourself right in front with right in front of Gray, and you're able to make her drop her sword as well, and so she's sitting here right in front of Gray, being completely restrained by you.
The minions are gone.
Being completely restrained by you.
Oh wow! Okay, there we go. She's got a Paladoon backpack.
I can be your backpack while you run. That's one of Antonio's favorites. So Paladin's holding her back with his halberd across her chest, and she's just like completely restrained. You could coup de grace her at this point if you want, Gray.
I want to convince her. Wanted to convince her to yield.
As she's looking at you, her eyes flash with golden anger.
I cast darkness, and I'm gonna try to intimidate her into yielding.
Okay, roll a spellcasting check. I just need something for her to roll against. So for you to set a DC. So roll a d20 and
21.
add your spellcasting bonus. 21. Okay. The you cast your darkness, and from the dust around you seems to, and Paladoon, you see this as well. You're restraining her, and you're watching Gray, and you see this layer of dust that surrounds him begin to expand around all of you, and it creates a huge globe-shaped cloud around all of you for about 25 feet radius, or 25 feet diameter rather. That now the entire area around you is just completely wreathed in darkness and shadow. After he does this, Gray says,
I am the master. You're my student, or you can leave.
her cutting through the darkness, you see the twin lights of her eyes flare bright, cutting through the darkness, and she says, Once I was the learner, but now I am the master. And she said, and and Paladin, make an opposed strength check.
Come on,
Oh,
Paladin.
oh no.
You can add your
Come on,
strength.
buddy.
You can add your strength bonus and your proficiency bonus.
Strength bonus and proficiency bonus. That's basically like my strength save. All right then. That is a +6. So so my 19 plus 6 is 25.
So you can feel her pulling against you, but you hold still. You manage to hold her still against you as she struggles. You can feel the infernal power, that spike of evil that you felt earlier, welling up from within her. Your holy halberd flares with a silver light and kind of tamps down on that evil that is flaring up within her. Gray,
Right.
what you see is, you see her eyes begin to flare, and then you see the kind of a silvery light around Paladoon begin to cut through the darkness a little bit, and you see it, instead of obscuring her, it just kind of pushes the power that is exuding from her eyes back, almost like streetlights being muted by fog.
Right? Is it?
It
my
is your
attack
turn. It is your turn. What do you want to do?
You've made your decision, and now I've made mine. And I attack her with my sword.
Roll to hit.
22.
She is restrained and prone, and you can coup de grace her if you wish.
She's down. I'm taking her out.
So you reach out with the master's sword, and for a brief moment, you see the little tabaxi girl that stood with you on the riverbank, and you're like, I'm sorry, and you, shing. While Paladin is holding her, and her head bounces to the floor, and her body slowly slumps over as she as Paladin looks at you, and he's like, "Whoa, dude!" So Paladin, Gray seems to be really depressed for a second, then lashes out with his sword and decapitates the person that you have restrained in front of you. Thankfully, you are much shorter than she is, so the sword passes through her neck, well over your head, but you can feel her body go rigid, and then stop struggling, and you lower her slowly to the ground.
Hmm.
How does that make you feel? You were holding this woman prisoner for what you thought was her own good, and then Gray decapitates her.
I thought you could have been rehabilitated or something. Like, at least convinced to our cause. Like, great. What the heck, dude?
Something took her. She was not what I thought she was.
So remove the thing that
She
took
wouldn't
her.
yield.
Paladin is literally standing there holding the body of your childhood friend, looking up at you like, "What the fuck, dude?"
She wouldn't yield. I had to do it. We must now collect her body and take it to the tombs and get her stuff.
Paladoon, roll a religion check.
That is a 11 plus my religion of +4. That's 15.
You hear Paladine's voice inside your head saying, Paladin, she can
Yes.
yet be saved.
How do I do it?
You realize that you're holding her body there in your hands. Her head is right there. And her head is looking up at you with this surprised look, and you notice that there's no more golden light. It's just the cat's eyes looking up at you.
I take her head, put it back on, put it back to where put it back to where her no, to where her neck is supposed to be, attached to her head, and I cast Revivify. Well, actually, no. What's the name of the spell?
Lay on hands?
What?
Lay on hands?
Lay on hands, and also lay on hands first, and then lesser restoration.
Okay, so roll me 2 spellcasting checks.
Actually, no. Better yet, Revivify.
Roll me 2 spellcasting checks, please.
Okay, so the first spellcasting check is a 19 plus what I think is wisdom for my spellcast.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
it
Alright,
works.
so that's okay. So that's plus
Roll
2
the
to
second
this.
one.
Second one is 11 plus 2 is 13.
You collect up the head of the young tiefling tabaxi girl, and you bring it back to her neck. You discard your halberd because it is not the tool for this job. Your halberd lies almost forgotten on the ground next to you. You sit down and you pull the girl's body into your lap, and cradled upon your lap, you bring her head, and which is looking up at you like, almost as if she's trying to draw breath but can't because she doesn't have a throat anymore. You hold it on there, and your entire body begins to glow with a silvery light as your hands heal her, and you hear almost like a sizzling sound as you're holding your one hand is cradling her cheek, and a tear goes down and touches your finger, and the moment the tear touches your finger, the silvery light traces up the tear and covers her eyes in this silver glowing light that begins slowly but begins to build as you're holding her head onto her body, and the silver light covers you. And Gray, roll a Constitution check.
Oh, Constitution. Okay. 20.
So the light that is exuding from Paladoon grows brighter and brighter, and all the shadows across the entire cavern begin retreating behind the intense glow that is being the intense holy glow that Paladoon is emitting, and you step back, and the dust withdraws from her body, and seems to cover you in a protective shroud as the light intensifies, and it becomes so bright you have to look away, and when you look back, you see that once again Gwyn is drawing breath.
Paladoon, how close to your gods you must be. How do you get them to do this and even get inside this sanctuary?
Huh?
Try that again.
You're killing me.
It's your acting
look,
moment.
okay.
It's your acting moment.
This is your shot, man.
Give it. Do it. Try that again. Give Joe. Feed him the line.
Paladoon.
Feed him the line.
Paladoon. What power you possess? How do you get your gods to enter my sanctuary like this and do this? Bring someone back from the dead. When I take their head, it stays away.
Because it's the correct thing to do. You don't take you don't take a person's life meaninglessly. You at least give them a chance to redeem themselves.
Very well. So you have brought Gwyn back to life. And you are lying down in the the ruined sanctum here. You have not found the thing that you came to find, but you found something else instead. Gwyn lies unconscious in your lap. She appears to be at peace, or as at peace as a tabaxi turned tiefling can be.
Is there a way to turn her back to back from being a tiefling? Like, is there a way to turn her into a tabaxi again?
I don't know. Is there?
When
Okay,
Are
I
you
gotta call
asking me?
up real quick.
Are you asking me, Paladoon? Or are you asking the DM?
No, I know. I'm asking the DM out of character.
Oh, out of character. I imagine that we could come up with some way to do it, but as far as
The Paladin solid.
Paladoon has never heard of anything like this before. Paladin really doesn't know what a tiefling is.
All right,
and you just kind of did some divine stuff right now, so I don't know if you could pull it off twice.
Yeah, I'm gonna just be sure. I'm gonna go ahead and dial up. I'm gonna dial up my god real quick.
Okay, so you're going to cast a commune spell. Roll me a spellcasting check, please.
All right. That is a 14.
A 14.
Plus 2 is 16.
So you are able to successfully commune with Paladine. So you enter a sort of trance in which it is only Paladine. It is only Paladoon and Paladine. So you are in kind of a nondescript place. So you enter a trance, and the entire world is nothing but light around you, and you feel the presence of the tiny platinum lizard that first welcomed you, as well as the presence of the great huge lizard that the great huge dragon that vowed to protect your children. Almost like an enveloping warm blanket around you. The presence wraps you up in your brain, and you exist in this kind of white anywhere around you.
So I ask him. So I just brought a lady back to life. And she's currently something called a tiefling. Is there any way to change her back to normal?
My son. My son. Oh, wrong one. My son.
My son, you have done a great deed today. Yet, this is one who has come back from beyond the outer planes. We know not what her effect may be. But you have done a great deed this day, and you have brought one back from the outer planes. Who knows what she may know?
Did you understand all that?
Sorta. I would like a recap of what you just said.
She said that you have brought this one back from beyond the outer planes, but who knows what she may know.
All right. Cool. All right then.
So,
Cool.
are you going to go back up to the carry her back up to the dojo?
Yeah.
Great. Did you want to do anything else while you're still down here?
While we're down here and he's in his little trance state, I want to feverishly go through her pouches and looking for anything that would be signs of the stuff I collected when the monsters were there. Anything that would let me know that she was on the track of monsters like I was hunting.
Very
Does
well.
she have
Roll
any of
me
the
roll me an
brimstone? Does she have any of the
investigation check,
blood?
please.
Okay. Come on. 21.
21. So you begin. So as Paladoon enters a trance state over the top of her, and you see the aura of silver light kind of narrows down to just around the two of them. As you do so, as he does so, you see the discarded pouch of her belongings lying on the ground next to her. You crouch down and you begin going through it. You find a variety of holy implements that are specific to the goddess Saloon. You also find a number of a number of just bits and bobs and pieces of things from around the temple that looked like they might have been significant. A couple of small pieces of rubble, a few chess pieces, that sort of thing. Um, you don't really find anything useful or anything that really feels of much of anything until at the very end you pull up what appears to be a small piece of clay or something, almost as if it was something that had gotten stuck in their in a boot tread or something like that. And like when you're outside in the winter in the mud and some mud clings to your boot and you inadvertently track it inside.
Okay. I take the clay, put it in one of my pouches,
Okay?
and I get her stuff backed up just in case she starts to wake up. And while they're still in there, I'm gonna do one quick spin around the room, see if I can see the rings, and then remember where the rod is. The
Okay. Roll me 2 investigation checks and an insight check, please.
Roger that. Investigation. First investigation 14.
Okay.
Second one natural 20.
Yes.
And then you said which investigation?
Insight.
And what?
Insight.
Thank you. I got a 7 on insight.
Okay. So for your investigation, the first area you start looking is through all of her belongings and on her person. While they're in their trance, you search Gwyn's person and all of her other stuff. She has a couple of other pouches on her, but they're full of spell components really, and other things like
Probably trinkets like tabaxi have.
right, right.
Yeah.
Once you start searching the area around you, the first place you go is back to the area where you had left the bar, which was over back in here, and you search around and you didn't find anything. But as you begin looking around, you're sifting through the debris, and you find what appears to be a box. It's a small box. It's about maybe 8 inches, an 8-inch cube.
I grab it and gently open it up away from my face.
You gently open it up away from your face, and nothing happens when you open the box.
I look inside.
You look inside and you see 11 rings, which are laying in a jumble on the bottom of the box.
I close the box and I put it in my main front pouch.
About this time, as you stand up and put it in the main front pouch, you hear Paladoon and Gwyn at the same time take a deep breath. Paladoon, you return back to the world at the same time, and Gwyn is in your lap looking up at you, and her eyes open and look at you, and she says, "Lords, you are beautiful."
Thank you.
You're very short, though.
Would you expect the kobold to be tall?
No. And she begins to sit up. She says, "It is only it just seems a shame that your species is so short and mine is so tall," because she stands up and she's close to 8 feet now.
Hmm.
And you're about 3 feet, right?
Yeah.
A little shorter
I'm actually
than
pretty
3
tall
feet.
for my people. Yeah.
So
Do I hear that?
Yes. Yeah, they're so you're all the way back here searching when they wake up. And you hear them kind of you can see that they're somewhat disoriented, as if they're not perceiving everything that's around them right now.
I walk up out of the back area and I go, "Paladoon, you've climbed mountains at least twice in your life. If you want to climb another, you may."
All right. Cool. Thank you.
And then I look at Gwen and go, "How do you feel?"
She looks at you, and you see that she's got her normal cat eyes, even though she still has the horns and the goat feet instead of the cat paws, but her eyes actually seem only a little glowing for the first time. She looks and says, "I feel good. I feel surprising. Did you cut my head off?"
Yes, he did.
She looks at Paladin and is like, "You let him cut my head off?"
Well, it was out of my control because it was like a millisecond. It's like I no, you guys wouldn't know that.
She turns and looks at Gray, and the next thing Gray knows is the tip of her sword that you didn't even see her pick up, is suddenly at your throat, and she says, "I should really kill you."
Please don't do
No,
that.
no, it's at Gray's throat, not Paladin's throat.
I know, but like,
but before he can say anything, I go, I did what a master would do when someone is possessed. You're lucky he could bring you back. You
Roll a
would have done the
persuasion
same
check.
to me.
Roll a persuasion check.
Where's my? Oh, there it is.
Paladin, you
I-
can
I-
roll a persuasion check too if you want to.
Yeah. That is a 15 plus my persuasion bonus of Vor's persuasion. That's plus 3. That's 15 plus 3 is 18. So
Thank God you got an 18, because
yeah,
I only got a
said,
14.
hey, I don't, no more killing people. I can only do that like one more time before I like I can't bring them back, bring anyone back anymore for a full before I go to sleep. So at least save this for tomorrow. So
So before you know it, her blade's in her hand and it's at Gray's throat, and she says, "One reason why I shouldn't do this," and Paladin's like, "Dude, chill. You're okay. You're okay." And she's sitting there with her blade right at Gray's throat, and she says, "Your lucky master liked you." And she lowers it and says, and says, "I've been the protector of this place for the past 20 months. I shall remain its protector." She sheathes her sword and says, "But Gray, I don't think you should be here."
well then I think that's a good enough reason to go Gray. Because I kind of don't want you to get killed because like I kind of want to keep my I kind of want to keep my higher I kind of want to keep my good spells for if we run into like a bear that's trying to kill us. So I think that's our cue.
You are the protector of this place, but I'm still the master of this temple. I will leave now and do what I have to do, but I will be back.
She says, "You will leave now, and when you return, I, as the protector of the temple, will decide what happens then. You should leave now while you can." And she turns and begins walking away into the rubble and begins poking through it, looking for something. Are you going to leave, or are you going to engage her in further conversation?
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and grab my halberd.
Okay. Yes, you should definitely take your halberd with you.
Yeah.
Well,
What is it?
nothing came to me in the mist. Can't do that. Annoying force here. Won't yield.
So Paladin, you and Gray are both standing there as Gwyn walks away from you and begins sorting through the debris on the ground.
I tell Gray I think we should go now and try to find a way back to that back to the tome that somehow we were teleported to the halfway across the world, I think, from Solaire or wherever we were.
Yes,
So
from
yeah,
Solaire.
so let's find a way back there.
Paladoon,
Yes.
if someone was in your temple possessed and then saved, would you leave them with all your powerful items alone?
Well,
Sifting through the rubble?
here's the thing though. The easiest fix to just about every computer problem is have you tried have you tried unplugging and turning it back on again? So
I did that,
think
and
that-
she now sits before us, still angry, claiming stake to this domain.
yes, but do you think she's still possessed?
No, but the items here are the only thing that are going to get us back. Something here can teleport us back. We just need to find it.
Ah, so why don't we tell her that? And wouldn't that help us leave?
So, with him saying that, I spin around and I go, Gwen, I'm not leaving until I find a way back. And I start sifting through rubble also.
She turns and looks at you and says, "Well, how did you get here?"
I was summoned
Summoned by
into
what?
a book.
Into
I
a
was
book?
summoned by the tome and sent here to find you sifting through this place possessed.
Roll a persuasion check.
Come on. Yes. 24.
She looks at you and says, "You have the book?"
Yes. And the sword.
The book and the sword? Where I see the sword. Where's the book?
The book teleported me and didn't come with me. It's sitting on some balcony at a school full of God knows what, running around talking about time and space and all this other stuff we have to do. And I don't know who's going to pick it up. Hopefully it's protected. I need to get back.
She's walked toward you and said, "If only you had the dust as well. Master told me once that the dust was the key to the book."
What were you guys like going around like sitting in a stupor of the dust like a couple minutes ago?
I unsheath I go to the bottom of my sword and I pull some of the dust up and go, I am the dust.
So you pull the dust, and I am the dust, and the dust begins to billow forth from your hand and covers you and Paladoon. And everything gets real dark and real quiet.
Okay,
Paladoon,
then.
the only thing that you can see is Gray's shape in the middle of this dust cloud.
I didn't think I was ever gonna be here in the middle of in the middle of a cloud of in a cloud of crack. Um, but hey, new experience. Gonna journal that. All right then. So yeah, I asked Gray, who I presumably can see.
Yes,
Hey dude, how are we gonna get out of here?
Gray is the only person you can see.
Yeah,
Is the only thing
yeah,
you can see in the cloud of dust.
yeah. I asked him, how's this gonna work? Like, I can barely see anything in this in this in this cloud, and it's starting to get a little stuffy in here, and ugh.
How do you
I don't
breathe in
know.
here?
This is how we move.
Also,
And I'm looking for Gwen. I'm screaming out, Gwen, Where are you?
You're in the cloud of dust, and it's like you're walking through this tunnel. You're like, Gwen, where are you? And you see a little bit of light off in the opposite direction in which you've been heading.
I turn and walk towards the light.
Paladoon, Gray begins walking away from you towards some light off in the distance.
Yes, perfect. When you're in a cloud of dust, walk towards the light because that will lead you out of the cloud of dust.
the two of you walk towards the light, and as you walk toward it, the two of you emerge from the cloud of dust onto a balcony back in Solaire, where the sun rises, just beginning to break across the horizon and lighten the sky around you. The two of you step out onto the onto the balcony in Solaire, and you can see the temple off in the distance behind you. Sorry, I gotta move you. And you can see the
My temple?
no, the temple of Solaire.
Oh,
And you see the temple the temple of Solaire off in the distance behind you, seemingly emerging from the smoke, as you realize that you're standing on this balcony, next to Gray's book, which is lying open to a certain page.
Ah,
I immediately reached down and slammed the book shut.
You slam the book shut, and all of the dust goes right back into it as you close it, getting back to the book right at the second that the pages close back together.
and that is the reason why you need to put a stronger lock on your port keys.
I look around for Dawn.
Oh, wait a minute! Oh no! We didn't take him back with us.
You hear "Urgh!" and
Oh, thank goodness.
and you look up above you and stand and adhere to the side of the tree above you. You see the last of the dust pulling from around Dawn up on the side of the tree around you. He's looking down at you like, yeah, you're not gonna forget me.
I look at Paladoon and go, thank goodness he's here. She would have ate him.
Very much presumably, yes. Yeah. It's a good thing it's a good thing he's like it's a good thing he's my seed. For some bizarre reason, even if I tried, I couldn't even lose him.
And
And,
the two of you turn and begin walking up the stairs, back up towards the Markale residence inside, as the sun breaks over the horizon, and you are climbing up the steps, and we will pick up there next time.
yes, perfect time for breakfast.
Yep.